Yo guys, what's up? Season 1 of the GPC. Season 1? No, Season 3 of the GPC. Week 1 of the GPC. I'm facing Lorient Luvdiscs. And as you can see, quick heads up, this is not a normal showdown replay. Of course, it's still showdown replay. But the showdown server fucked up and I had to use instant replay, so I had to record this thing and then do stuff and stuff. So yeah, I did this thing. Yeah. But his team, Week 1 team. Chandelure, Scissor, Terrakion, Tentacruel, Electros and Mesprit. 2 months I didn't expect to bring. Mesprit and Chandelure. Don't know what tricky sets they're running. No pun intended, because they both can trick. Hey. But yeah, basically, I don't know what set they will be running. I didn't expect Chandelure at all. Mesprit was a good choice in this end, I think. I don't know. I didn't expect him to bring it, but I had he had a good chance of bringing it because he can definitely utilize it well against me. But yeah, by him bringing these 2 months, I know that he's not bringing a dragon, which is great for me, because yeah, it was pretty threatening to me, I think. And he didn't bring one of his potent offensive/defensive poison types in Nidoking or Valplum, which both, in my opinion, could do very well against my team too. So yeah, I was really happy to not see any of those two. But Mesprit unfortunately is still a pain in the butt and can still block stuff like my Alakazam. And Chandelure, if it's depending on the set, it can stop Aromatisse. If it's a Calm Mind set, so Calm Mind maybe can set up an Aromatisse. If it's Scarf, then it can trick my one of my monsters Scarf, which could be bad. So yeah, there's new threats that I have to look out for, and hopefully they won't pull their shenanigans on me. And hopefully I won't even know their sets by the end of this game. But yeah, I know it already. And you don't know it yet, so yeah. Let's go into the match, I guess. I lead off with Mega Venusaur, because Mega Venusaur is very bulky only when it's Mega'd up. And I wanted to have a switch into Chandelure, because without the fire the fire resist, thick fat, not resist necessarily, but without the weakness to fire, it's a lot better for his team. So yeah, that's why I wanted to lead off with Venusaur to get a Mega up as fast as possible. And I go for the lead seat, and as he goes for the Stealth Rocks, and unfortunately I miss. It's not that big of a deal, because as you can see, the Zen Headbutt misses on his end, turn 2. And I get my lead seat off anyway. Predicting him to go for a U-turn or just a general switch out, I go for the EQ, expecting him to bring in the Tentacruel for the Liquid Ooze ability on my double lead seat, or on my Giga Drain, or on my Sludge Bomb. But he goes into Electros, making a nice play, making a nice prediction, knowing that I was probably gonna go for the EQ or anything like that. And usually an Electros cannot touch me, so I am not really afraid of the Electros, as they usually run Knockout, Drain Punch, Flamethrower, Giga Drain, or Volt Switch, T-Bolt, stuff like that, you know. HP Ice maybe at best, but nothing really that can touch Mega Venusaur, so I feel very safe staying in. I'm going for a lead seat, expecting him to at worst make a Volt Switch or U-turn play out into one of his threats that can deal with Mega Venusaur a little bit better. But as you can see, this man pulls of an Acrobatics, because it knows that I know that it cannot touch Venusaur with its normal moveset, so he pulls out the Acrobatics. And this is a good and a bad thing. A bad thing because obviously I cannot stay in any longer, and Electros has a lot of freedom versus my team now that Venusaur apparently doesn't check it that well. But it's a good thing, because it's not running any item, meaning it's not running Assault Vest, and that means that Manaphy can late game put in a lot more work against this Electros not very easily, but more easily. So it has its ups and downs. As I go for the next turn, the Synthesis, hoping he would make an O prediction. It is around 50%, so I could waste the Synthesis or 1 or 2. And luckily he makes an O prediction and goes into Zen Headbutt. Now goes into Mesprit, goes for the Zen Headbutt on my Murkrow play. And it's a really risky switch, I guess, on my end. Oh, Murkrow's pretty high up. Without wings it can still fly. But yeah, usually Murkrow is very much not a switch into months, because it's very frail. But in this case, I was pretty sure he was going to go for the Zen Headbutt. If he did make another play, then Murkrow would probably have been gone, unfortunately. But luckily, he did go for Zen Headbutt. And because I switched it in, I figured he would have predicted Pursuit or predict me to be offensive. As, yeah, I don't know. He could, of course, still think I was offensive, but Anyway, I go for the pursuit, does massive damage to Mesprit as Mesprit switches out normally without U-turning. And now he goes into Scissor, and like I said in the team analysis, which will be a link in the description down below by the way, his Mega Scissor has to be defensive or specially defensive or defensive in some way, so I am not fearing him too much being an offensive set at all. But because this Scissor is in against my Miracle, I know I cannot touch it at all either, unless I wanna go for the T-Wave. But because Miracle is very frail, I won't be able to do the U-turn, and I want to keep Miracle around for a little bit longer because the priority T-Wave is really crucial against the Terrakion if it's not Lumberry, or against Chandelure if it's just curved. So yeah, I want to keep it around. And that means I have to switch out, and nothing really on my team takes a U-turn well and can deal with the mon that switches in on the U-turn on his momentum. So I switch in Empoleon, knowing that I can lift the U-turn very easily and get the Stealth Rocks. As he Volt switches out for, well, I guess U-turn, Volt turning, shenanigans, and as he goes into Tentacle to Scald Burn me and to set up Toxic Spikes, as I get a chance to get over the knockoff and weaken him a little bit more. The damage is all I need, because with that damage means that Alakazam can easily take it out from that range. If it's special defensive, physical defensive, doesn't matter at all. He knows this and he decides to sack off Mesprit, as it's not going to do too much for him, as it's not Choice Craft, so it doesn't really outspeed much on my team. It's probably a defensive set. And now he goes into Janus the Mega Scissor. He's EV'd, told me afterwards to live an HP Fire from Alakazam, so I wanted to switch out anyway, and of course I had to pick a new fodder. As like I said, against the U-turn I can switch something in, but it dies to the next one he switches in on me. So decided to let Mega Venusaur go, because his special attackers aren't that scary in my opinion. And actually he brings in Chandelure, as you can see, and I go for the EQ. That was, I was gonna say a misplay, but I wanted to cancel the play and want to go for Synthesis, but unfortunately I was too slow to click the cancel button, and my opponent clicked Shadow Ball and got the special defense up, so I don't think in the end it did matter too much. Not sure. If it did, then kinda sucks, but I can't be too salty about it, I guess, because it was my own mistake of clicking EQ first. But Mega Venusaur is bulky as shit, and he probably didn't predict me to be that bulky on the special side, so yeah. I can get the nice EQ damage off, and this means that he cannot switch out because Stealth Rocks will kill him. Of course he does still have a Rapid Spinner, but I don't think he is able to get a Rapid Spinner off versus me and bring in Chandelure to use it effectively. So I go for the Sucker Punch, making a safe play. As he now is he is forced to bring in Electros on me. Well, forced, of course he could have brought in Scissor, but he decides to go into Electros and go for the Volt Set to kill me off. And this means that I can get the necessary damage off versus this Electros too, whereas my Scalds from Manaphy at +1 or maybe even at +0 can deal with it. And it does a nice chunk. Look at that damage, man. Murkrow is pretty strong. As he brings in Mega Scissor again, and I bring in Aromatisse. And at this point I know that Aromatisse will not die to Bullet Punch, even if I'm Babiri Berry or even not Babiri Berry. I won't die, and he will probably predict me to go for the HP Fire, but I cannot risk him. Making a play, and like a different play than the obvious play. And as you can see, he goes for Rapid Spin Tentacle. At this point I figured he was Sash Terrakion, as he decided to go for Rapid Spinner instead of the Acid Spray or Sludge Bomb, whatever move he had on his Tentacle. As I get up the Clutch Trick Room, and this Trick Room is actually really important. As you can see on his team, everything outfits me and everything is weakened to the point where Aromatisse can, I want to say, take everything out except for Scissor, because Scissor, even though it's quad weak, is bulky as fuck, and I can unfortunately not take it down with an HP Fire. But this HP Fire damage after the Babiri Berry, Clutch Babiri Berry, brings it in a range of health where it cannot put any work against me, as I go into Manaphy on the last Trick Room turn. At this point he needs to make a play. Of course he cannot risk the Scald. Well, he cannot risk, I guess he can risk, because it was pretty obvious I wasn't gonna go for the Scald. but it was probably a play he didn't want to risk, and that makes sense. As I go, of course, for the Calm Mind, knowing that he's gonna more likely roost, and even if he switches out into Terrakion, I don't think he can still pull off the kill with either Terrakion or then afterwards Scissors slash Electros. As you can see, after the +1 boost, I go for the Scald, get the burn, not critically important, but yeah, he goes for the Tailwind, and that's something I didn't expect, and at this point I fear Electros being able to outspeed me as he goes for the Bullet Punch. I just go for the Rain Dance because if it doesn't outspeed me, because it's actually really slow, so I don't know if it outspeeds me or not. If it turns out it doesn't outspeed me, and with the Rain Boosted Scalds, I can easily take down the Electros. I think, honestly, to be honest, I should have gone for another Calm Mind instead of the Rain Dance, but I wanted to show off my whole moveset, so. And now his only mon left is Terrakion, and like I said, because he went for Rapid Spin, I expected him to be Focus Sash. Turns out he is Life Orb, meaning that he can not kill Manaphy in one hit, and I can kill him with the Scald. If he was, however, a Sash, I would still have been able to beat him with Alexam, as its Sash was intact, and his Quick Attack wouldn't kill me if he was running it. So yeah, let's see if I can make something happen here. Ah, fuck. There we go. So yeah, there was a really good game versus the Lorient Luvdiscs, as it was his first experience in a league-based system, a league-based format, and I think he pulled off a great game because he had the upper hand for the whole match until I pulled out the Trick Room with Aromatisse. That clutch Trick Room, it was actually a filler move on the Aromatisse. I didn't expect to use it, but the Trick Room turned out to be really crucial, and yeah, he really didn't expect me to run this Aromatisse set, which was huge for me, because that meant that Aromatisse was going to be able to put in a lot of work with its HP Fire and Psychics. So the Trick Room was actually really clutch. I expected him to play around with the Trick Room sets, the Trick Room turns a bit by switching, but luckily for me he didn't, meaning that Aromatisse could put in a lot of work, and Manaphy also put in a lot of work because Manaphy cleaned up the rest of the game. I still had Alakazam in the back, which was able to put in a lot of work versus him, especially since his Mesprit went down. Unfortunately for me, I didn't run HP Fire on Alakazam, which is probably something I should have done in hindsight, because Mega Scissor was a pain in the ass, man. It really was a pain in the ass. So yeah, I probably should have considered him not running Hydreigon maybe. Mega Scissor was crucial because Mega Scissor was only switching to Hexer, so he 100% needed to bring it, and he 100% needed to bring a defensive set, in my opinion. But yeah, I pulled out the first win of the season, and I am pretty relieved because that means that my season is on a good start. And it was a great game as well, so I feel really confident in this team and in playing my opponent for next week. Don't know who it is yet, but I will see that in a bit. Again, a great game, Garrett. It was really fun. I was pretty confident in my team, but so were you, and with good reason, because it pulled off a great game versus me, until my Trick Room with Aromatisse pulled through, which I'm still kind of proud of because I didn't expect it to do so well. But yeah, luckily for me, I managed to pull off the win, and hopefully see you soon in the playoffs, because I think you have a good chance of making it actually. By seeing this first performance, you're definitely a threat to consider when or if you're in there as well. So yeah, his links will be down in the description, of course, so make sure to check him out, make sure to check out his perspective of this game, and see why he made some plays or why he didn't make some plays. And yeah, hopefully see you next week with another battle. I don't know versus who yet, but yeah, I will hopefully grab a win, my second win then, and if not, then you'll have to see it for yourself. So let me know in the comments down below how you think this match was played, if it was played well, if you think you should have made different plays, and yeah, leave a like if you did enjoy it, of course, really appreciate it, and see you next week, man.